Now that we have learned about subnets, you are probably asking, I know I can talk to all kinds of IP addresses, and now you're telling me my subnet mask will prevent me? This is where routers, VPNs, and firewalls come in. So what exactly is a router? I assume we're all familiar with the term. We probably talk about resetting our router at home. But what does it actually do? At a simplified level, routers simply route packets from one subnet to another. This is why you can talk to IP addresses even though they may be on a different subnet. Here's how it works. Here we have two IP addresses and the corresponding subnet masks. A third address is added to each. This is the default gateway. The default gateway is the IP address of the router we should contact for all IP addresses that are outside what we can talk to, given our subnet mask. Now here is a router. Instead of one IP address, the router is given two, one on each network. Then the computer on each site configures the settings for the default gateway on their network. Now, when this computer wants to talk to this one, the computer knows it can't talk directly due to the subnet mask, so it goes to the default gateway, passing the traffic to the router, which is able to get to the other computer. Why is all this important? There are many reasons. One is simply for security and ease of management. A large company might separate out IP addresses by building, giving each one its own subnet, in order to make it easier to determine the location of a computer based on its IP address. It also might put certain more sensitive computers, such as payroll servers, in their own subnet. When it does this, it may also use the router as a firewall. A firewall is simply a piece of software or hardware that monitors packets and reroutes them, depending on predefined rules. For example, in the payroll case, we might decide not to allow any subnets except for the building that handles payroll. A firewall rule would be set up to block all incoming traffic that does not meet this rule. Firewalls can also be run locally as software on your computer and block incoming traffic based on where it originates from, or what port it is trying to talk to. So what about that router in your home? What is it actually doing? Well, let's take a look. IP addresses are a set of 4 numbers, each of which can be from 0 to 255. This allows us a total of over 4 billion IP addresses. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, the population of Earth is over 7 billion. And how many of us have actually only one IP address? I mean, we have a phone, a computer, maybe an Echo or Google Mini, an Apple Watch, a tablet, a game console, and who knows what else trying to connect online. At this point, it should be obvious. We don't have enough IP addresses for everyone. One way this is resolved is through routers. There are some ranges of IP addresses that are not routable on the internet. That means they can't be used on the internet. Wait a minute, you might say. How does that help? Now you're telling me there are even less IPs available. These IPs were designated for private or personal networks. So here's how it works. Your home router, with all of your devices, sets this up as your internal network. Your devices all get IP addresses and subnet masks, but they require a router to go anywhere. And your router here, which is your default gateway, is where your computers go to talk to the outside world. This router has an IP address both on your internal network and on your internet service provider's network. Thus, even though you may have 20 devices in your home, you're only actually using one IP address on the internet. This is also where VPNs come in. VPNs will create a tunnel, allowing all traffic to pass through them, giving you an IP address in that subnet. For example, supposing you have a home server that has family photos or music on it. The server might even have a firewall on it for extra protection, allowing only IP addresses from within your home to talk to it. By using a VPN, you can obtain an IP address from within your home network and access your server. This is how many businesses use VPNs and firewalls to protect internal resources.